Mr. Clerk, who allowed you to interrupt?
Let me take the chance to congratulate you and your deputy upon your election to lead this committee and the members upon assuming this responsibility. Let me assure the Honorable Mulima Mayuni Abdallah Kiwanuka that on Thursday, 6th August 2026 at 10, I'm going to be here again together with the Attorney General to present written submissions on the state of human rights and freedoms, which I'm sure is the subject of Honorable Abdallah Kiwanuka's concern. So you can eat us fried, boiled, roasted, or even raw on that day. But today, we have come specifically to respond to your invitation about the concerns raised by the members of this honorable committee regarding the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Asked us to talk about its leadership, administration, and accountability. I won't read the presentation verbatim, but is in 9 parts. We have an introduction which will lay the foundation of the boundaries of what we can do as the political leaders in the Ministry of Justice. We'll talk about the status of the chairperson. We'll talk about the independence and functionality of the commission. We'll talk about the tribunal and complaints on human rights. We will talk about the resourcing of the commission. We'll talk about accountability and the role of oversight institutions such as this honorable committee. And then we'll give our position as government on the current situation. And we'll end with the way forward and conclude. Mr. Chairman, for weeks, concerns have been publicly raised regarding the administration of the Commission, including matters of its leadership, governance, conduct of meetings, handling of complaints, and the accountability of the leadership of the Commission for administrative decisions. I'm sure that is what prompted you to seek clarification from government. I appear today to respond to your invitation to explain the position of government regarding the recent developments affecting the Uganda Human Rights Commission. As government, we appreciate Parliament's continued oversight of constitutional institutions, and we welcome this opportunity to clarify the constitutional, legal, and institutional position regarding the matters that have arisen. As you have stated, government is aware that this committee has already engaged the chairperson and commissioners of the Uganda Human Rights Commission on these matters. We welcome these engagements because parliamentary oversight is an important constitutional accountability mechanism. I'm therefore addressing you on the assumption that you have already received information directly from those who are in charge of the Commission. My statement is only intended to clarify government's position, the ministry's constitutional role, and what we propose to do as a way forward. Our presentation is not about giving you information. You actually have all the information you need because the people in charge of the commission have already addressed you. Mr. Chairman, because the Minister of Justice is stated to be the line minister, and the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is the line ministry, there may understandably be an expectation that it exercises supervisory authority over day-to-day administration of the Commission. Mr. Chairman, this is not the constitutional position. The Minister of Justice does not exercise oversight or supervises the day-to-day administration of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. What we do is to coordinate government business relating to the Commission, and these are limited to policy, legislative matters, budgetary processes, but the internal administration of the Commission remains the responsibility of the Commission itself, acting through the structures that are established by law. Chapter 26. In reality, despite the expectations people may have, government cannot lawfully direct the Commission on how to perform its constitutional functions. In addition, government cannot interfere in its internal decision making. That constitutional arrangement is deliberate. It was based on the decisions of the framers of our Constitution. The purpose was to insulate the Commission from executive direction in order to enable it discharge its mandate impartially. After all, as government, we are always the suspects before the Uganda Human Rights Commission. It is the government agencies that are often in the dock before the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Therefore, the framers of the Constitution were right to insulate the Commission from interference by the executive branch. In addition, we exercise restraint. And there's a difference between restraint and indifference. Let me allay anybody's fears that the minister or the Ministry of Justice is indifferent. We are not indifferent. We are merely restrained. Why are we restrained? We are restrained because the Constitution commands us to respect the institutional independence of the Commission. We see this, for instance, with the Bank of Uganda, where sometimes as the executive we complain about interest rates, but we must respect the independence of the central bank. Nevertheless, Mr. Chairman, the constitutional independence of the Uganda Human Rights Commission does not diminish government's responsibility to uphold, protect, and promote human rights, and to support the constitutional and legal framework within which the Commission operates. I therefore, on behalf of government, wish to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the protection and promotion of the fundamental human rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution. Human rights are not a matter of political convenience. They are constitutional guarantees which bind the state, its institutions, and every person exercising public authority. Under Article 20 of the Constitution, it is stated that our fundamental rights and freedoms are inherent, and they shall be respected, upheld, and promoted by all organs and agencies of the government. The Commission, therefore, is a very important institution. It was deliberate that the Constitution makes the Human Rights Commission an independent institution
Point of procedure, Mr.
to
Chairman.
protect and promote human rights in Uganda.
Procedure, Honorable Nalukola.
Mr. Chairman, I believe it is procedurally right for me to make a humble request that the minister allow us to share the written document is reading from so that we can be on the same page. If it is okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it's very okay, but when he came in, we had not made copies, and we thought he would lay our proceedings, so we allowed him to present, and then we shall keep a copy, we shall distribute to the members. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask my assistant to ask my office to send a soft copy immediately to your clerk so that they can print. Yeah, my assistant is here. He will talk to you and a soft copy will be sent. In the Constitution, Article 51, members of the Commission are appointed by the President with the approval of Parliament. Their tenure, removal from office, and terms of service are also governed by the Constitution and the Uganda Human Rights Commission Act. The Constitution and the Uganda Human Rights Act safeguards the independence and legitimacy of the Commission. Article 54 expressly provides that subject to the Constitution, the Commission shall be independent and shall not, in the performance of its duties, be subject to the direction or control of any person or authority. Independence, and we respect it. This independence, however, does not mean absence of accountability. The Constitution establishes a system in which independence is accompanied by constitutional, legal, and financial accountability. After all, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is a public institution. It is funded from public funds, and it is even required under Article 52 to submit annual reports to Parliament. Therefore, it is legitimate for Parliament and this committee, in the exercise of its constitutional mandate, to scrutinize the Commission's performance, the utilization of public resources, and compliance with the law. Independence does not mean you are above the law. Therefore, from the point of view of government, we wish to assert that independence and accountability are not mutually exclusive. They should actually coexist. They are complementary safeguards of constitutional governance. Mr. Chairman, I now want to talk about the status of the chairperson. Concerns have been raised regarding the position of the chairperson following her communication expressing an intention to resign. As we understand it, Mr. Chairman and honorable members, the legal position is that an expression of an intention to resign does not by itself necessarily constitute the completion of the legal process by which an office bearer ceases to hold office. Public office is created, held, and vacated in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law. Consequently, the legal effect of any communication regarding resignation or cessation of tenure of a holder of a constitutional office is determined by the constitutional and statutory framework. This matter of resignation of the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission is governed by law, not public commentary, media reports, or informal communications. The government, therefore, will continue to respect and adhere to the lawful procedures governing cessation of office and any decision taken by the appointing authority in accordance with the Constitution. Our position on this matter of the resignation of the chairperson is informed solely by the law. After all, we do not want to prejudice any individual. Until the constitutionally prescribed process governing cessation of tenure has been lawfully concluded, the holder of office continues to discharge the functions, responsibilities, and obligations of that office. Equally, once the appointing authority has made a determination in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law, the government will respect and implement that decision. As usual, the appointing authority will consult us and we will give our advice, and the decision will be his. On the functionality and independence of the Commission, on reports about the internal functioning of the Commission. These reports have been about infrequent meetings, cliques, decision-making processes that are not inclusive, but more importantly, how the Commission manages complaints. We are not so much concerned about this because of the emotions surrounding some of the dysfunctionalities in the Commission. We are concerned because if the Commission is dysfunctional, then it cannot discharge its mandate and it cannot serve Ugandans. Article 52 gives the Commission a very broad mandate. The Commission is supposed to investigate alleged violations of human rights. The Commission is supposed to visit places of detention. The Commission is supposed to undertake human rights education. The Commission is supposed to monitor Uganda's compliance with international human rights obligations. Above all, the Commission is supposed to report to Parliament. The Commission even has powers of a court under Article 53. And these significant constitutional powers have to be exercised collectively, lawfully, transparently, and in accordance to the principles of natural justice and law and due process. While the Constitution mandates the Commission and gives it the responsibility to carry out these functions, the Commission itself has got to be answerable for what is happening inside the Commission directly to the Parliament. We consider it, Mr. Chairman, to be inappropriate for government to preempt your own findings as the parliamentary committee. Equally, and that's why we are here, we cannot disregard credible concerns regarding the functioning of a constitutional institution. We therefore believe that we should allow the established accountability mechanisms to go on with their duties, determine the facts, and then you recommend corrective actions. Sometimes people have differences in administrative approach or governance. This should not interrupt the work of the Commission. The public continue to look at the Commission to protect their rights. We therefore expect adherence to the Constitution and other laws. We expect efficiency. So even while you are carrying out your oversight duties to scrutinize what is happening in the Commission has to continue working. Now, as government, the most important concerns are actually about the Commission's handling of complaints. These squabbles are easy to deal with, but to us, the most important complaints are where citizens are dissatisfied with the way their complaints are being handled. If a citizen approaches the Human Rights Commission alleging a violation of his or her rights, they are entitled to have that complaint handled fairly, impartially, and in accordance with the law. At the same time, the Commission is not required to treat every complaint as establishing a violation merely because a complaint has been lodged. To many people in our society, they think the moment there has been a complaint, that means the facts are correct. That is why the Commission is required to investigate and determine the truth of every complaint. Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, in our country, it is enough to be accused. The moment you are accused, investigations are now dismissed. We believe that every complaint must be followed by investigations to determine the complaint, to gather evidence, and also understand the circumstances of the case. The Constitution expects that the Uganda Human Rights Commission will observe natural justice. In other words, before a government institution is judged to have violated human rights, that institution must also be given a fair hearing. That actually has rarely happened. If you look at the reports, most of the reports actually don't detail regular engagements with the institutions of government that are regularly accused. We reckon has adjudicative powers. Sometimes people are not satisfied with what the Commission has decided. The right to appeal to the High Court is provided. We do believe that the processes should not be personal. They should be institutional. Many of the problems that we have faced in the Uganda Human Rights Commission have resulted from complainants singling out and tackling the chairperson of the commission personally instead of tackling the institution. We have seen that happening even in our courts, where a judge is singled out for public lambasting. The same way the chairperson of the commission sometimes is singled out. Imagine, Mr. Chairman, if you were attacked personally, yet you are discharging your duty as chairperson of a parliamentary committee. These are some of the hazards that the Uganda Human Rights Commission has been facing, and that in a way distracts it from its work. When complainants attack the person of the chairperson, instead of saying, we are dissatisfied with the commission, we are now heading to the High Court. After all, Mr. Chairman, Article 50 gives the right to any citizen. It is not that you must only get redress from the Uganda Human Rights Commission. You can actually get redress from the High Court directly. Sometimes the allegations that complaints have been dismissed, delayed, or determined without adequate institutional consideration. Unfortunately, in this blessed republic, these allegations of dismissal, delay, and inadequate institutional consideration are not subjected to proper examination. Instead, they are handled through political debate. Naturally, the issues then evaporate into thin air. We are conscious as government because behind every complaint lodged before the commission is a citizen, a human being. We call these cases, but actually these are not cases. These are citizens seeking protection or redress for an alleged violation of fundamental rights. Therefore, delays in determining complaints or uncertainty regarding institutional processes undermines public confidence in the Commission and may prejudice access to timely justice. It is therefore in the interest of both the complainants and those being accused before the Commission that complaints be handled expeditiously, fairly, and in accordance with the law. Later, we will state what our recommendation is. It is important when a person appears before the Commission, that person should be told the steps which are going to be taken and even the timelines, so that the Commission can say, we are going to give ourselves 1 month to investigate this, and after investigating independently, we shall then invite the persons you are accusing to face you before a tribunal constituted, and the timelines are stated. The way it is done in the courts will tell you, we are going to hear the case for the following number of days. You must submit written submissions by this time. Judgment will be by this date. That has not often happened with the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And therefore, citizens are right to complain because they apparently don't know what is happening. We do not want an institution that is supposed to protect human rights to be perceived like a witch doctor's shrine, which is shrouded in darkness. You don't know what is being mixed. You don't even know what concoctions are going to be given to you, and you have no timelines. There has got to be transparency about the procedures. The tribunals and the delays and the availability of resources. I wish to admit, Mr. Chairman, that the lack of resources has undermined the institutional capacity of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Nevertheless, the existence of budgetary constraints does not relieve an institution of the responsibility to account. It is not enough to say the money I'm given is little, therefore even if I don't account, however little the money is, you must account for it fully. We want to pledge as government that we shall continue working with you as Parliament to ensure that the Commission is adequately resourced to perform its constitutional mandate. Incidentally, the work of the Human Rights Commission extends to all vulnerable groups. As I close, I now wish to talk about accountability and the role of the oversight functions. Most of the opinions that have been formed about dysfunctions in the Uganda Human Rights Commission has been based on allegations which have not been subjected to any due process. And that's why this hearing before this committee is very important. People have witnessed televised reports of accusations and counter-accusations by commissioners and the chairperson, emotional outbursts, allegations of financial impropriety. The position of government is straightforward. No institution is above the law. The law requires accountability, and that's why we are here to support the process you have initiated. Sometimes the Auditor General issues reports, and where the Auditor General requires explanation, it must be given. Sometimes Parliament requires clarification. The institution must provide it. Where the IGG or the Inspectorate of Government is exercising its mandate, that process must be allowed to proceed independently. And where there are allegations of individual wrongdoing, investigations must be carried out by competent institutions. As government, we will not obstruct legitimate investigations, and we will not even prejudge their outcome. We are not here to defend any individual. We are merely here to say everybody has to account to the parliament. Now, allegation does not mean the proof. Unfortunately, in the world in which we live, dominated by social media like TikTok, X, and Facebook, judgment comes before presentation of evidence. So, let us investigate, let us find proof, then judge. The only caveat we can add, that no institution can invoke constitutional independence to shield itself from lawful scrutiny. Now, our position as government. Third, the independence does not exempt the Commission from accountability for public resources. They also have to account for their administrative conduct. Fifth, concerns regarding the internal administration of the Commission should be addressed through constitutional and statutory mechanisms that are provided. Number 6, we have a duty to protect the rights of those who lodge complaints before the Commission. The Commission has a duty to conduct fair, impartial, and above all, timely processes. 7, and finally, Parliament is entitled to exercise oversight over all public institutions, and it is our duty as government to respect that mandate. And that is why the government will continue to support measures that strengthen the institutional capacity of the Commission. And this support is through adequate financing, staffing, an effective system for disposing cases. As a way forward, we understand the inquiries that are being undertaken by competent authorities. We urge that this committee speeds up its work so that your report can also be forwarded to the appointing authority. He will know what to do. That's his constitutional mandate. And when he seeks our input, we will give it. I want to end on a positive note, Mr. Chairman. This is actually, I'm very happy that these things are happening. Yes. The current situation gives us an opportunity to find the weaknesses. For those of you who live near lakes, until the boat starts to leak, you will not repair it. So this is an opportunity to address the individual allegations, but more importantly, is to strengthen the institution. I'm confident that the Uganda Human Rights Commission will emerge stronger after this episode, because the weaknesses are now in the full glare of the public. We now propose the following measures. The Commission should ensure that its decision-making processes are according to the law and the Constitution. In other words, an institution which is established to check arbitrariness cannot itself be arbitrary. Number 2, the Commission should abide by the principles of natural justice. These men and women in uniform are normally bashed one-sidedly. In fact, it's enough to be accused. The moment they say, soldiers came and beat us up, nobody wants to know what actually was even the circumstance of the case or the truth of it. So we will insist that there should be natural justice. The Commission should strengthen its internal governance and institutional mechanism, especially to ensure collective decision making. These quarrels in the Commission are because some members of the Commission feel excluded from the decision making process. In Parliament, we have a plenary. You can choose to attend or not. But once plenary has taken a decision, we are all included and we are bound by the decision because all the doors are open for us to go there. The problem in the Uganda Human Rights Commission, there are those who have been accusing the leadership that the decisions are made in cliques. So we insist that we should go back to collective decision making. We also propose that dealing with human rights complaints should be systematic, and they should also be prioritized according to the urgency and vulnerability of the persons concerned. When people disappear and there are video recordings, those are the most urgent cases. In fact, the reason why we have the 48-hour law, it is because the liberty of a citizen is the most important thing. No citizen should be denied of their liberty beyond 48 hours. We also propose that there should be adequate facilitation to the Human Rights Tribunal. We want to strengthen the administrative accountability mechanisms. And if there are problems with the staff of the Human Rights Commission, they will be subjected, and that we can do administratively. They should be taken through a performance improvement program to be monitored. We also submit that parliamentary oversight and investigation by other authorities should be acted upon. Parliament, the government, and the Commission should continue engaging constructively so that the lack of resources do not compromise the discharge of the Commission's constitutional mandate. We remain firmly committed to preserving the independence of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, strengthening its institutional capacity, ensuring accountability in accordance with the law, and safeguarding the confidence of the Ugandan people in this one of the country's most important constitutional institutions. This is not just, excuse me, this is not merely a legal obligation. It is a constitutional duty and an essential pillar of Uganda's democratic governance. I beg to submit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, we have plenary at 2 p.m. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Is there anything would you like to say?
Some issues need to be handled immediately. Those are seen to be the most urgent matters. Honorable Minister, but also to add on the list, which you may be preparing for, is about the way the trial, which is in court. I'm aware we are not supposed to interfere. We must be seen to look at them as they are adjudicating their matters, but the extent of chasing away the public without providing alternatives, how the public should be following in that case, looking us also as MPs, as lawyers in that BSJ case, it puts the judiciary into a certain corner to be seen as biased. That is issue number one, Honorable Minister.
You have another point?
Yes.
Okay. Is this about
also, Honorable Chair,
Commission this time?
Honorable Chair, through the Minister, we have just had among the entities which are under you is the Electoral Commission, and I'm aware you followed what transpired across the country. We expect some presentation and some alternatives you are proposing in that direction. They told the people to petition. Are they going to hear those petitions? We need some answers around the elections which took place, the L1 elections.
Thank you. The Shadow Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I think that was a light whisper to your colleague in line away from the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And I'll ask the Minister not directly to respond to that today, but to prepare for Thursday, like he said he wanted to whisper to you. Now, honorable members, we have plenary at 2. I will only request that we stick to the matters of Uganda Human Rights Commission, and once we are done with those, we shall wait for Thursday. Can I request the Congresswoman to make a statement?
Much. Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for his submission. Thank you, Honourable Minister. You've considered that there's a leadership crisis at the Commission. But also you've underscored the fact that the Commission is constitutionally independent in carrying out its functions. I take that. But also, you can't run away from the fact that your ministry has oversight responsibilities for the legal framework governing constitutional bodies, including the Human Rights Commission. A quick question. Are there any gaps, perhaps in the Human Rights Commission Act or related laws regarding the management of disputes, for example, among commissioners? And if so, what reforms might government intend to propose so that we sort out the issues once and for all? Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you see, I started with the NUP, went to UPC, I'm going to FDC.
Then Pierre.
You have anything to say, FDC?
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your statement. It at some point left me tongue-tied, but I nonetheless want to ask you. I know under international generally, it's the obligation of government to facilitate and create an enabling environment for the enjoyment and protection of human rights. This Uganda Human Rights Commission is one such constitutional commissions that are created to facilitate this. I appreciate the need for it to remain independent and for you to exercise so much restraint to dive into the matters of their management. But I also appreciate that you share my pain as a citizen on the way and the manner in which complaints are dismissed and handled. Because I listened so intently to you, Honorable Minister, speak about the duty of the Commission to protect complainants. And they are currently not able, right now, Honorable Minister, the Commission is not able to conduct any business. No business at all. These commissioners cannot even sit in a room together to handle any business. And we have, in my view, we are faced with an extremely difficult human rights situation in the country, which you're very well aware of. As much as you cannot, you have to do everything with restraint. Parliament also can only recommend. Is this a bird flying on its own that we can't catch?
And I think that takes us to what the Congresswoman was seeking on how to make reforms. Now, the Honorable Peter will represent NRM.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, very Honorable Minister, for your submission. You have also admitted, and the members of the Commission also when they came here, including the Chair, admitted that the commission currently is dysfunctional and in a crisis. Basically, they cannot execute their mandate when at the same time we are having a lot of human rights issues, because the commission admitted that they last met together as a commission on 9th March of 2026. So it's 5 months down the road, they have not done that. And that is impacting on the suffering of the public, because where do they go? How will their issues be handled? And since the commission seems is failing to do its duty as currently constituted, as the ministry which provides oversight, don't you think something should be done to save Ugandans instead of protecting the members of the commission?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's hear from the Shadow Attorney General.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I will be as brief as my height. I've been guided by you. Mr. Minister, the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission recently stated that the executive treats the Uganda human rights as a dumping ground for political rejects. As the minister, do you agree with this characterization of the Constitutional Human Rights Commission? Secondly, Mr. Minister, why have you allowed this vital constitutional body to collapse into a total gridlock under your watch? Mr. Minister, while the Uganda Human Rights Commission remains completely paralyzed by the internal fighting, state torture, illegal detention, among others arising, Mr. Honorable Minister, would you comfortably, without fear of any contradiction, say that the government in power respects human rights, when you have allowed the single constitutional body meant to protect citizens to rot into absolute irrelevance?
Thank you.
The last one, Mr. Chairman.
I'm afraid we are running out of time. We have plenary.
1 second, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. That
was supposed to be Kungu's opportunity, so use it.
He has advocated for fair hearing to security organs, among others. But recently, when one of the lawyers of Dr. Chiza Besigye sounded that he intended to serve the CDF with the summons to defend himself in respect of human rights violations, a few moments later, that lawyer was kidnapped, taken to basement, was held incommunicado and tortured. Later on, he was presented in court after that torture.
Where did you get those facts?
I've been following, Mr. Chairman. I've been watching the
From
news.
social media.
Order.
From social media.
Order, Chairman.
Okay.
Chairman, order.
Honorable Deputy Chair, please make your statement.
Honorable Minister, the Human Rights Commission is a quasi-judicial body that you said is impartial, supposed to be impartial, as opposed to best practices in the judiciary when putting membership, constituting the Judicial Service Commission actually scrutinize, vets, and even this parliamentary approval. Do you think, given the sensitivity of the work that they do, that is judicial in nature, and also we are seeing situations where the secretary, the lean technical team, has to deal with so much. Do you think it is time to also take these guys under the judiciary as a sort of a tribunal, like the similar treatment, funding and other things? And then maybe finally, you say the annual reports, which I think is presented should be presented to Parliament by the line minister. I don't know whether some of these things were captured in the annual report, some of these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, Honorable Minister, I also have a lot of issues to raise. But because you're coming back on Thursday, today only respond to those relating to the Uganda Human Rights Commission.
Chairman, you haven't given me a chance.
Others which are outside what is presented here,
Yes.
please preserve them for Thursday, because you only have 3 minutes to respond, because we have
Chairman,
for
the
plenary.
independents
No,
have
we
not
have
yet spoken.
we have plenary. I beg.
All parties have spoken. The independents.
I insist that we respect plenary time. Please.
But independents
Please,
haven't
please,
spoken.
Mr. Chairman, on Thursday, I'll be able to respond in detail to many of the issues that have been raised by the honorable members of this committee on matters that are outside today's hearing. I do believe that independence does not mean a body operates in isolation. The Honorable Adeke said, is this a bird flying on its own that we cannot catch? Like, to use the same analogy, if you have an aeroplane, it must be linked to a control tower. This actually is the control tower, the Parliament. That's why the report is presented to Parliament and not to the executive. I also believe that the statement by the chairperson characterizing some of her colleagues in a derogatory manner may have been made in anger, and there may have been reactions. Mr. Chairman, not all of us can withstand pressure the same way. There are some of us who are built differently. We can deal with pressure, but some people may not be able to deal with pressure. But ultimately, what comes out of you when you're under pressure is what you are. What comes out of you when you are squeezed is what you contain. Leadership requires that you know how to deal with pressure. These statements were extremely unfortunate, and as a politician myself, I feel offended because some of the most distinguished people who have been appointed to commissions were politicians.
Honorable Minister, for the record, she apologized in this committee for those statements.
I think she needs to apologize to her colleagues. And also, the appointment of members of commissions is not exclusively in the hands of the president. You have a checkpoint here in Parliament. So you cannot accuse the president if this checkpoint cannot stop somebody who is unfit. So Parliament shares the responsibility with the appointing authority. You are the gatekeepers also. There are many times we have looked at the law and refused to clear certain people. I was in this Parliament when we rejected the appointment of General Salim Saleh.
It's different now.
You can change that, and I think you can. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, even though the Uganda Human Rights Commission has problems, there are other bodies that can deal with it. Let us assume that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is the brake, but there are also handbrakes. So it doesn't mean that human rights can no longer be protected. We have got the Inspectorate of Government, we have got the courts, and we also have this house, Mr. Chairman. So you are urging us to get involved. I have listened to the chairperson. For the record, the chairperson was my classmate. I've known her for decades. And some of the members, the chairperson of the commission, they are also members of the commission who I know. But now, the government rationalization program is going to combine the Uganda Human Rights Commission and the Equal Opportunities Commission. So this body is going to be reconstituted. And I can only now urge the Parliament in the exercise of its role as a gatekeeper. The Appointments Committee really has got to up its is there with your names, and people will say, what sort of people were in this house when these things were happening? I trust, Mr. Chairman, in your leadership and the leadership of this committee on these very important issues. I regret that we have reached where we are. It is regrettable that we have reached where we are. And on Thursday, I will say more about some of the other issues of concern. But I insist that we look at the problems in the Uganda Human Rights Commission as an opportunity for us to strengthen the institution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Also extends a special invitation for your presence on Thursday when he makes a comprehensive presentation on general issues. That's why I also reserved my comments. Honourable Minister, from Chotera we have a lady who is wearing a semblance to walk you out. You also have a yellow one. I'll ask the Honourable Antong to walk you out at this juncture, but we thank you for according us time. And we look forward to further interactions with you. Always green is on top of yellow, so that's why I took cognizance of that. No, we will ask Honorable Antong to see him out, please. Thank you.
Wait, what was the
Ife tugamba naye biri mu ssemateeka, waliwo n'etteeka ya Uganda Human Rights Commission. Nga government tetweyingiza mu mirimu gya Human Rights Commission egya buli lunaku, egya day to day. Kubanga oluusi executive branch ate gye basinga n'okuloopa mu maaso ga Uganda Human Rights Commission. Osanga oba ab'amagye oba abapoliisi balina kye bakoze. N'olwekyo tulina okuleka Uganda Human Rights Commission ekole emirimu gyayo nga tetugiwaliriza, ate nga si ffe tugifuga naye nga erina okukolera wansi w'amateeka awatali kuwalirizibwa. Okubeera independent tekitegeeza nti tebakugambako, balina okugambako. Auditor General bateekwa okukebera wa ssente we ziraga. Parliament erina obuyinza okusamoninga omuntu yenna ajje yeewozeeko kasita wabaawo ensonga, n'ebitongole ebirala. Kati nze nga minisita emirimu gyange ku lwa gavumenti kulaba nga ssente weeziri tuziteeka mu bajeti basobole okuweereza, naye tetuyinza kubeerawo mu ofiisi zaabwe bulijjo timukole bwe muti mukole bwe muti. Ekyo kye bayita independence. Naye ekya accountability kiri mu mateeka. Buli muntu alina okuwaayo alipoota. Ky'oba olaba nti alipoota ya Human Rights Commission ejja buterevu mu Parliament tegenda mu Cabinet. Nze nandisabye Parliament batunuulire ebizibu ebiri mu Uganda Human Rights Commission ng'omukisa ogutuweereddwa okujjanjaba ekirwadde. Kubanga singa endwadde zezireeta bubonero oba symptoms, singa tetuzijjanjaba, naye buli kirwadde oba obulwadde bwonna buleeta obubonero obulaga nti omuntu mulwadde. Kati bino ebintu ebiri mu Uganda Human Rights Commission tubitunuulire nga symptoms eziraga nti waliwo obulwadde. Kati symptoms ziwa omusawo omukisa okujjanjaba obulwadde obuliwo. Nze siina kutya kwonna kwonna nga minisita wa ssemateeka ne Siga Eddamuzi nti guno mukisa munene nnyo ffenna okukwatira awamu. Kyova olaba nti n'ebigambo Chairperson wa Human Rights Commission bye yayogera mu busungu yazze ne yeenenya eri banne. Naye bino byonna biraga nti buli kintu kiyinza okwesigama ku mateeka, naye kisingira ddala kyesigama ku bukulembeze n'empisa z'omuntu, karakita. Ekyo kikulu nnyo. Osobola okuba nga omanyi amateeka gonna naye waliwo empisa z'olina okuba nazo. Ekizibu ekibadde mu Human Rights Commission, abamu bammemba bagamba nti babaleka wabweru we wabeerawo enkiiko egisalawo. Kyova olaba nti tebakola nga ttiimu, bandize wano bonna nga beekutte mu ngalo, naye wabeerawo ekiwaayi ekyesowolayo ne kyogera ebyayo. Kati engeri gavumenti gy'erina enteekateeka okugatta commission ya equal opportunities ne Human Rights Commission, kino kijja kutuwa obudde okusunsula mu bantu abasaanidde, ate tuleme kunenya pulezidenti yekka. Pulezidenti ye geeti esooka, naye waliwo geeti ey'okubiri gye bayita parliament. Kati bwe bayita mu kasengejja ka pulezidenti baleme kuyita mu kasengejja ka parliament. Naye tetuyinza kunenya pulezidenti yekka kubanga na wano mu parliament waliwo akasengejja. Ekyo tukikolako kati. Amateeka gonna weegali mu gavumenti eno eyakagwako, buli kimu twali tukikoze era tujja kujja mu maaso ga parliament. Kirudde kubanga kyetaaga kutereza ssemateeka, ate omanya amateeka g'okuteekawo ennongesereza mu ssemateeka ate kijja tutwalira obudde, naye nga enteekateeka yo weeri.
Submission ya minisita teberangako, teyinza butabeera useful. Kyayogedde kye kituufu. Bw'otunulira article 51 eteekawo Uganda Human Rights Commission, it's an independent institution, yeetongodde, naye minisita ate naye kyakkiriza wano mu lukiiko nga twogera nti aginako obuvunaanyizibwa bw'okuwa gye bayita supervisory role. So supervisory role tetegeeza kuyingirira mirimu gya day to day work, naye alinako mandate gy'abadde akola nga ministry era abadde bagikola bulungi. Kyetulengedde mu kyo nti waliwo obwetaavu bunene naddala okudda mu tteeka nga mukwano gwaffe Apio bwabuuziza nti waliwo ekyetaaga okuterezaamu mu tteeka kisobole okuwa ebitongole bino ebimu ebyetengeredde okufuna supervision oba okulabirirwa, okulondoolwa obulungi okusobola okukola emirimu gyabyo. Ngenda kuzzaako emabega, nabadde ntunulira Oweekitiibwa General Katumba Wamala statement gye yabadde akola ku UNRA, yeefaananyizaako n'Oweekitiibwa Norbert Mao statement gy'akola ku Uganda Human Rights Commission, nti ogwaffe gwa kubeera eno ne tulengera nga abakubira train baayi, naye ffe tetuyingirayo yadde nga biri waffe. Kyendowooza nti kyabulabe nnyo naddala mu kiseera kino nti enguzi eyitiridde n'enkola ey'emirimu eyagadibe ngalye mu gavumenti. So kyetaaga okudda ku nnono twetegereze wa we twasoba mu mateeka naddala agateekawo ebitongole bino ebimu nga bye twogerako Uganda Human Rights Commission. Kubanga siyinza kubanga nze minisita owa Justice and Constitutional Affairs ng'ogwange gwa kulondoola ebimu ku byennondola ye human rights, naye ngamba naye ate beetengeredde. Ekyenjawulo mu kukola emirimu, independence of these commissions, mu kukola emirimu gyagyo nti ensala gye tuwa nga waliwo azze okuwaaba ewaffe, gavumenti eteekwa ogiyingiramu ne tugamba musale bwe muti oba nedda. Naye tekitegeeza tetulina kutunulayo ne bwe muba nga mutandise okweyisa nga abatalina buvunaanyizibwa tugamba afa abo tetulina bakwatako bali independent. So ekyo kyawukana nnyo. So nkwadde ebyokulabirako ebya ministries ezebbiri, ministry ya works, minister wagamba nti nali ndi eno nga nnengera bulengezi, noono nga naye agamba nti nze ndi eno nga tebinkwatako. So waliwo obunafu obwo, and I think tulina okudda ku drawing board tugezeeko okubutereeza. Oba oli awo rationalization kyeyajja okutereeza. Kuba ne minisita kyatugambye leero ekyali kizze luli naye nga tekivuddeyo bulungi ne tukigoba nti rationalization etegeeza okugatta Human Rights Commission ne Equal Opportunities Commission tufune ekitongole kimu kubanga eri right mweri. So tujja genda nga tutereeza ebintu ebyo mpola mpola. Kuwena ensonga ya Uganda Human Rights Commission batuleetedde documents mpitirivu nga bwe mulabye omukulu accounting officer, mpadde technical team yaffe ewiiki emu ebeere ng'etuwa report ekwatagana ku ebyo bye twasaba, then mu maaso awo tugenda kuyita chairperson wa Human Rights Commission ne bakomishona be tusobole okubeerako n'olukiiko olwawamu nabo, tusobole okulaba nga tusobola okugonjoola ebizibu ebiriyo, naye era mu kiseera kyekimu bwe tuba tetubasobola kutuula wamu ne twogeragana nabo, ffe tugenda kukola report eri parliament bwe tugenda okuteeka ne recommendations zaffe ezimu ezigenda ewa president nga appointing authority ategeera ekyokukola. So ffe tugenda mu maaso n'obuvunaanyizibwa bwaffe.
But the cause of the killing was a misunderstanding that at some point she felt sick. And in the conversation with her boss, the boss indicated that you are poisoned. And since you are poisoned, you should not touch our food items or even our fridge because of that. And the girl understood that being poisoned, it means her boss had given her poison and she was going to die. And she figured out in her mind that since her boss has poisoned her, she will also not die alone. She will die with her boss. So in the depth of the night, she prepared a pestle and went to the bedroom of her boss and struck her severally on the head and killed her. And tried to escape from the home. And when they captured her, she was able to confess. She said, my boss said I was poisoned, I did not want to die alone, and that's why I killed her. So that is the status of the case as the information given. But we were assured that there is a legal process in Syria, that she will be taken through the due process and tried, and her case determined according to their law. We have given this information to the Office of the Attorney General to alert them that she may need legal services, and we intended as a ministry to visit and corroborate some of this information, and then the war against Iran broke up, and then travel was disrupted. But so far, that is the case of Ms. Vicky Ajok in Syria. Honorable Chair, I listed one of them, which you are already familiar with, is limited budgetary allocation. Every mission of the Republic of Uganda, where it is, it provides consular services. They visit prisoners, they give them advice, they give them some basics, they mobilize pro bono services where they can, like in Kenya, and because of limited budget, they are not able to intercede on behalf of Ugandans who are in distress. Some of them, imprisonment has been reduced, fines. Some of them, issues have been resolved and Ugandans released. Some of them, advocacy has been done and waivers of sentences or fines done, and Ugandans have benefited. So with more resources, we should be able to cover more ground. Honorable Chair and members of human trafficking is such a big thing. The office of the Prime Minister is seized with this problem, especially about Cambodia, Myanmar, and Thailand, but it will be an activity that you will rescue some people and more others will go. So perhaps with your engagement, if we had sustainable ways of handling the challenge of trafficking and smuggling migrants, that would be appreciated. Honorable Chair, with Ugandan laborers abroad, if we could have a real framework that includes the skilled and the unskilled, if we could have a mechanism of punishing heavily those who violate those procedures, if we could have a way of monitoring those activities, if we could have more people going through licensed companies rather than those who go through unlicensed, I think we would be able to make some progress. Honorable Chair, finally, 1 or 2 or 3 is that we should anticipate that rescuing Ugandans from abroad is not about to end, so we should have mechanisms to be able to support our Ugandans. We should be able to have mechanisms to sustainably deal with trafficking of Ugandans. We should have mechanisms of dealing more comprehensively and more methodically with the problem of externalization of labor, and then we should be able to ensure that ultimately bilateral agreements on externalization of labor are entered, implemented, observed, and respected. And with all those said, Honorable Chair, the Minister of Foreign Affairs believes that your committee has a prominent role to help us in securing more funding, more support, more sensitization, so that more resources are allocated to our services and more Ugandans are served and migration becomes more regular, more safe, and more orderly, and more Ugandans are protected. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for all the presentations you have made this morning, my colleagues. This is the time we can ask questions or clarifications so that we can understand it better. I think there has been a lot of asking for strategies, if there could be strategies, if there could be ways. And I'm like, but this is what you should be doing. You should be presenting to us the policies you have made. So if now you say we are requesting for this, for us we are demanding that there must be guidelines so that all these challenges can be dealt with. But without that, it's going the time go take it back home that for us we are demanding these strategies, we are demanding these policies to be in place, and it is only that will make time is open for you for questions. Yes, Honorable. And then
Thanks,
we come
Chair.
to side.
The people of Bunyole East. Mine goes to Ambassador Mohindo. Chair, as you may be aware, the September, which follows the development of the budget framework papers. So I wonder whether Ambassador Mohindo sits in the top management, because budgeting is participatory naturally. It starts from down, bottom up, and the allocation of resources is triggered by activities. And from the YC, the activities of the diaspora department may be overlapping with the consular department. So the problem might be around there. So they need to harmonize and see who handles what. Thanks, Chair.
They will.
Chair, my name is Dennis Omodi.
Omodi, sorry.
Aliela. Mine is just a suggestion. And I know the issues of the labor, the consular, the issue of labor externalities, Minister of Gender, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Internal Affairs should have a coordination mechanism and have some of these matters addressed at that level. And for foreign affairs, I think budget or money issues is quite interesting. I know there are so many unfunded priorities. Ambassador seems to have peanut to do his activity, but I think, as my colleague stated it, this can also be addressed during the budgeting process. And when it comes to this committee, some of us would be interested to see foreign affairs shine, because you are the face of Uganda out there. And many of the things cannot be done if we have a limping underfinanced activities of our foreign policy. But I also wish to ask you.
My name is Robert Sewabude, the National MP for Persons with Disabilities. I want to thank the team from Ministry. It's about the diaspora. I'm sure that the Ministry has got a mandate of promoting our interests all over the globe. But the challenge that we are having, the Ugandans outside there, some of them have got a negative mind about their own country. Remember saying that we are promoting the national interests and we're doing a lot of lobbying in terms of investment, but these investors go and ask the people in the diaspora and they come out with negative information about our government, about our country, and in the end, the investors are scared away, and it tarnishes our development agendas. Now I want to know from you, do you have some focal persons in those countries, more so from people in the diaspora, who can really support you in having a mindset change to people living in the diaspora? Number two, many times and the countries who have got involved in wars, many of our people get stuck in those countries. I have a suggestion, if possible. Can MOFA work with financial institutions as you repatriate these people back to their accounts? Some come back totally broke and have nothing. Can we engage them earlier before to open accounts like fixed or invest in something so that by the time they are brought back, if anything happens, they have where to start? That's why some of them have turned into propagandists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable.
Chair, my name is Nangoli Umar, representing the people of Northern Division in Mbale City. Now, mine is to do with what Ambassador talked about, some of the missions that are not economically viable, that may require relocation maybe. Now, according to my understanding, nation is open up missions not only for economic reasons. Now, it is important, don't you think it is important for you to liaise with the other ministries so that we find out whether some of these missions, even when they are not economically viable, they could be maybe for strategic reasons or political reasons? Then the next one is to do with the Kadamas. I happen to be a relative of one of the girls who was taken to the United Arab Emirates using an illegal company. Now, is there no way the ministry can continue profiling these companies and then two, maybe issue them with seals? I'm going to borrow a leaf from people who go to Makkah. When you go to Makkah, you are given a seal that you wear as you depart. There is no way you can access the Kaaba without that seal. So is there any way that the ministry can issue these companies that have been legalized to work on these kadamas, to give them seals? Because when they go to the embassy, to the airport, it is only maybe a passport that is required. But if there is an extra security measure, maybe it could reduce on those that are taken illegally. Then lastly, I want to appeal to the ministry to continue engaging other, because there are cross-cutting issues, like he said. Sometimes the answers may also be issued by other ministries. For example, on the issue of these illegal immigrants, the ministry like security can also help. I don't know whether you have a working relationship, because they have these intelligence officers who work at the embassies, who work at the airports and cross borders. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Madam, for the last 5 years in the 11th Parliament, I spent my time in the Budget and Finance Committees. Being on this committee is my first. And Madam Chair, the purpose of this committee and why we are having this induction is for us to understand how foreign affairs works, how it's structured, the challenges you are facing, so that we can support you. And when we have supported you, we'll have our opportunity to oversight you as well. Listening to the team speak, Madam Chair, I can summarize that they are the people who help us with bilateral, multilateral relationships. That's the all-time diplomacy, supporting us in trade agreements, diaspora issues, consular services, and economic and commercial diplomacy. And this is how key areas that you focus on. But listening to you, the three of you, I came late when Ambassador had spoken. I want to agree with my colleagues that, first of all, there is an overlap of roles which we need to deal with. Consular services is doing a similar thing that diaspora is doing. I think Ambassador Cabonero is mainly looking at trade relations between countries, maybe other big entities, but still there could be an overlap there. Can we clean that one up so that we know where this accountability lies? The second one, issue of this policy has not been done, this one has not been done. As Parliament, we don't do policy. That's the work of the Minister, and the Permanent Secretary is actually the executive role. We would want to actually know why you fail to progress these policies, have them approved, and become operational. If it is law, we do law. Policies are created by the executive. So I think you need to deal with that as quickly as possible. Then my friend talked passionately about lack of money, about his diminished territory, yet he's bringing a lot of money. My experience in Budget Committee and the budget process of government is that, number one, the President is the one with authority that marks the budget ceiling. That's number one. Number two, the executive sit down through Ministry of Finance and appropriate or apportion money to various ministries. Then it is you, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to prioritize your areas of need. So he shouldn't be crying if his area is deemed as an important aspect by the ministry. So I think you really need to prioritize the money that you are given. So what we will be doing is, if we feel the money is not enough, and you prioritize correctly, but the money is not there, then what we will do is we will engage with the Ministry of Finance and Government to give you more money. That's the effort that we would make. But first of all, prioritize within your own areas, so that that work is a responsibility. Ambassador, you've been in that area for long. I think if we are now going into this economic and commercial diplomacy, which is like a flagship for our foreign service activities and diaspora activities, then let us make it as a performance contract for our diplomats. We visited, as Budget Committee, we visited some of our diplomatic services, They talk about economic diplomacy and commercial diplomacy when they need money. But when you go there, you actually hardly find activities. So let's align our budget process and our foreign policy agenda with what we intend to do. The other aspect of diplomacy can be sorted, but if it is commercial and economic diplomacy, let's align our alignment. The Minister of Labor is handling the same thing about the diaspora people going outside, others getting jailed, and the Foreign Service now. Maybe we need to do alignment as well with the Ministry of Labor to make sure that our policy objectives are in sync. And then finally, this Albuga program. Now we said we should cut it or whatever. No, why don't we have our own diplomats to go there? You go to Russia, we find exactly what is happening. We said, our girls have come here, there are these issues, can we see them? I think these are some of the things that we can do. Even where we have taken our girls, we should go and visit. We should have a policy agreement with the respective countries for us to visit and find out where these girls are before the problem hits us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. My name is Achom Alobojo, presentation on, but possibly I would love to know, Ugandan government and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a little or loudly too silent and too cold on the issue of people going out for labor, especially in Thailand. You have, in most cases, come out boldly saying Thailand is not one of the countries we have recommended our people to go and all this whenever there is an issue in Thailand. We as a country and as a government, do we even know how many agencies are taking people for labor out of the country? They are too many that each person comes up and says, I can take you to get a job in this particular country. We are losing very many people. I know our people are struggling, but as Minister of Foreign Affairs, what is your take or what is our take to ensure that we get these people who are registering people to take out? And what is the, what are you doing to ensure that we track these agencies that are taking our people out and ensure that our people are safe from wherever they are? Because a point of view is that it's not only Thailand that our people are dying. There are very many places, talk of Abu Dhabi, talk of these places. We have so many of them. Could you please come out strongly? Do we even have the number, the total number of people being taken out for these jobs? And how do they even pass? How do they even exit the country without clear registration, clear notifications, and clear this? Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, my name is Wangadya. I represent Buyamba County in Rakai District. I apologize for coming in late because of traffic jam. I have two questions. One has been hinted on by Honorable Omar Apol of overlapping mandate. I believe some cross-cutting mandate are a creation of the programmatic budgeting approach. But to be specific, with this, can I know from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs if there is a mandate clash, like where they are struggling to do something with the Ministry of Gender, where they have not come in harmony to have it done like by either one ministry or the other? Is there any problem? We need to know about that. Another question is about China. China recently came up with a policy of doing health checks, like to get a visa to China, you have to go to either Malago or Chinese hospital and do some health, they have health requirements. But some have very dangerous radiation, for example, scans and, and you realize that we have frequent travelers. Our young boys there do business with China, they travel, like they can travel every month, and it becomes very dangerous for them to go into those, to do those checks every month. Including myself, I'm a frequent traveler to China, and unluckily, us who are holding service passports, we cannot get a multiple visa or a visa for a year to China. May we know about that? What can be done to ensure that people who travel to China are safe from those dangerous radiation checks? Thank you so much.
Yesterday I told my meeting that when I was coming to Foreign Affairs, they told me, you're going to a very redundant committee. But I see my colleagues have so many questions, so I'll pick all of you. I start from Mohindo and I'll end with Honorable Sia.
Thank you, Chair. Protazio Wegumisa is my name, MP, Ndorwa County East Kabale. Today we talked about economic and commercial diplomacy, but I found out there is something else called weaponized diplomacy. There are so many conflicts going on in this world, and where the big boys are involved, they tend to use punitive measures, sanctions, trade bans, public condemnation, as opposed to negotiation, conflict prevention, and long-term peacekeeping. What can we do? What can be done? Armed, weaponized diplomacy. The second question is on what they have called amateur diplomats. From what you've been saying, diplomacy is very serious business. It's serious work, and it requires serious people. Can we be assured that the resources you are deploying in these embassies are people who have the experience, people who have the training, and maybe not us politicians who may have failed here and there, and then we end up in this ministry? I'm not aware. I'm just asking. Thank you.
And also, I am aware it is one of the most informed ministry in terms of foreign relations. But Honorable Chair, whereas the ministry has highlighted commendable progress in strengthening consular services and protecting Ugandans abroad, many Ugandans in the diaspora are facing quite a number of challenges, and day in, day out, it should be on record, we receive calls from people from our constituencies especially on the challenges they face. Like my sister just mentioned, in Thailand, there are some boys in Thailand as I speak now. They are held in Kaskado. They're in Thailand. They don't know how they went there. They were taken on a plane, reaching somewhere. They went on a border. So they are just there. We are soliciting for funds to bring them back. They even produced children there. We are looking for funds to bring them back to Uganda. There is a WhatsApp group we are on. We are looking for funds such that they come back. And you find that there's a lot of among the many challenges they face, like my brother just mentioned, we have arbitrary detention, recent xenophobic attacks, and we know that they may not even end in South Africa if we follow the trend very well. Now, what comprehensive strategy really has the ministry put in place to strengthen, first of all, Uganda's diplomatic missions the rapid response. I want to commend the ambassador of Uganda to UAE. We lost a child recently. It was an accident in construction, and he acted very swiftly. I want to thank him, wherever he is. He acted very swiftly. The body was brought back to Uganda, and the burial was taken, the burial carried out, and the company really paid, compensated. How I wish that is done to all Ugandans. That swiftness they did was very commendable. But I think a 24-hour consular emergency service in our missions, that program should be put in place, and contacts of our people in those missions should be displayed, should be made public, should be public information that any Ugandan can access them, even those that are abroad. I don't know if we have a serious monitoring system that is digital in nature, where the ministry can sit in Kampala and they find out we have so and so in China. I have heard of situations where our brothers go, for example, for a religious trip, say to Roma. They don't come back. They don't come back completely. I don't know whether the ministry is aware. They sit in Rome or Mecca or where, they don't come back. Do we have a monitoring system as a country that we can be tracking those people? Thank you.
Yes. South constituency. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Foreign Affairs for this induction training. Now, during today's session, they shared about the scholarships in the ministry that are being given by foreign countries, like they mentioned UK, I think Russia, Algeria, and a couple of them. My question is on the regional balance on the scholarships. Achieving regional balance in foreign scholarships, particularly those channeled through government ministries, like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Education and Sports, requires a deliberate shift from a passive advertising to achieve a structural equity. Now, to ensure the international study opportunities are distributed fairly across all regions, and following strategic measures can be implemented. Do we have, as a ministry, a system where we balance these scholarships to all regions in the country? Or we just advertise, irrespective of whether all the beneficiaries are coming from one region, and then we award them the scholarships? Can we be deliberate on this?
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Sia. And that is the last question.
Office, as it were. I just want to also thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can see a few of my old colleagues who I worked with in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on some of the international reporting on some of the international conventions. Yeah, my name's Solomon Osia. I'm the MP for Toroma County in Katakwi District. I have a very simple question. I think we're leaving money on the table as far as the diaspora is concerned. I don't have the latest figures, but I think in 2024 we had about 1.4 billion that was contributed by the diaspora. But most of this money, as it were, is coming into the country for the level of consumption. I think with this type of money, if it's being put to better use, we should focus it not just only for consumption, but also for sending money for investment. I know government has tried to put some effort into things like what they call diaspora bonds with Bank of Uganda, but I think the ministry should work together with key government authorities, for instance, Capital Markets Authority, to determine products that are going to be very useful for members of the diaspora. Most members of the diaspora would also want to build a house. We have an organization like National Housing which is struggling to survive the day. And yet we have got customers who are also struggling to build a house. One of the biggest problems diaspora people have, for instance, building a house, an issue of trust. You've seen people sending money, and when you come home to visit, they show you a hat. It's very common. But if we have a trusted solution like National Housing, and you know that you deposit your money, you know this is the type of model of the house you're paying for, you know where it's being built, it will give us a lot of leverage to reduce or mitigate the issues around housing situation all over Uganda. So I'm just mentioning one of those things like housing, but even education. The diaspora can heavily invest in schools, especially in their areas.
Talking will help us and also give that assurance to some of our brothers and sisters abroad that they can invest in various areas, not only in wherever they come from. If we do not help to grow this nation ourselves, it will be difficult. With all these questions, we are ready for your answers. Don't look for another person.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try and answer a few that were directed towards my presentation. I think one was concerning the budget. And I want to, through you, Madam Chair, I know Dr. Mara was very, very supportive of the ministry in the 11th Parliament, and including support to all these missions, and he's very aware. What has changed, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, is that now budget allocation to missions is directly linked to measurable outcomes. So if you recall, a mission would carry out an activity, and that would be the end. All we are saying is, if you are going to spend taxpayer money on an activity, what are we getting out of it? That has to be in the work plan, and at the end of this, for example, this financial year, we look at, you spent 1 billion to carry out your activities. What did we get out of it? So, and that comes back, Madam Chair, to the question you're asking about Rome. If you have that money and you have a work plan and you haven't implemented it, why would you be allocated more money? And I know that a number of heads of mission will come to you privately crying, but you need to ask them, what was your performance in the last year? And this should be really the oversight that you are talking about. Ask for those measurable outcomes, because they have submitted performance reports, we have given them targets and tied it to the funds. So that's the different way that ECD is going to be operating. Honorable, we are not the appointing authority for those who go to missions. But I want to put it to you, Honorable Chair and members, that no head of mission goes to represent us without parliamentary approval. So it's not for us. Ours on our technical side, yes, but for heads of mission, it's you to approve them. So I will not go there as a technical person. For us, we train our staff to perform at the technical level. But at the highest level, you have a say. The way we are doing it in the ECD, it's not only remittances for consumption, exactly what Honorable Sia was talking about. One of the biggest challenges is lack of investment vehicles and platforms. The diaspora fund is fine, that's why they invest in housing. But for example, the Ethiopian diaspora built the Renaissance Dam because the return on that bond was very high. But also if you look at the unit trust funds in Uganda, a number of diaspora are moving away from building houses and coming the nightmare. They're actually investing in those unit trust funds, and they're becoming too big even for our market. So it's a very good thing. Training, we are doing that training for our staff to really whole government approach. There was a question, Honorable Chair, and this is externalization of labor. The mandate is in gender. However, you've all seen when these people go out, they are a responsibility of our missions and ministry. Any Ugandan abroad, whether you have gone for labor or you are visiting or you are on a tourist, it's our responsibility. However, we don't even register a single externalization labor company. That's gender. So maybe in the whole government approach, we agree we'll need to work together to solve some of these mandate challenges that we have. Because even when those girls camp at our missions, after traumatic experiences, we are required to come up with money to feed them, but we don't, that money is not allocated to us because externalization of labor is gender. I thank you, Honorable Chair, and maybe my colleagues will answer the specific questions. Thank you.
Okay, There was a question of coordination between ministries and overlap of mandate, which Ambassador Kabonero has touched on. One challenge we have about externalization of labor and Ugandans in detention, including those in Cambodia and other places. The mandate lies with the Minister of Gender. The Minister of Foreign Affairs does coordination. Indeed, we have chaired a number of meetings to point out problems that need resolution, so much so that we have also escalated the matter to the Office of the Prime Minister so that the whole government approach can help solve this problem. We are aware of it. We have tried to deal with it. It is beyond our mandate, and we have escalated to those higher than us. There was a question about whether we know how many people are in detention, how they go, or something like that. How they go, we don't know. Minister of Gender says, according to the recent count, those externalized by them in countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia, they found about 20-25% of the people there were externalized regularly through licensed companies. All the others go their own way, either as individuals or as relatives or licensed companies. But more importantly, I can comment about Cambodia. We have no bilateral labor agreement with Cambodia. We do not, as a country, externalize people there, but they are trafficked to Cambodia. Some of them are got from Dubai and other places. They are promised jobs in IT companies and other aspects, and then they end up in scamming networks, but they are taken illegally, and they are many. Even the Minister of Gender cannot account for them. It doesn't send them there. There was something about two departments, diaspora and consular services, whether their mandate clashes or whatever. From what I know is that our departments complement each other. We support each other in what we do. As consular services, we support every department in the ministry and beyond the ministry to other MDAs. So I don't think that is a big challenge that is failing us to do our work at all, because we complement each other and we support each other.
Madam Chair, through you, just not to belabor the point he's making, I'm just beginning to see the role of our external security organization and even internal.
I wanted to make a comment that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does coordination. Now, in the spirit of coordination, we work with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Immigration Department, the National Coordination Office Against Trafficking, the Ministry of Gender, and others. But still, I think our efforts are not yet enough. That is why the challenges still stay. And that is why we have escalated the matter to the Office of the Prime Minister, that what we have done, but we need to do more, because the problem still persists. And as Foreign Affairs, a mandate that falls outside our ministry, we can only point at it and inform other authorities that there is a challenge here. But if it doesn't fall within our mandate, we are unable to address it adequately by ourselves. Something about scholarships. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs solicits and receives scholarships. It does not distribute them, it does not disseminate them, and it does not determine who benefits from them. On the contrary, we forward them to the Ministry of Education and it does the management. So the question as to whether there is regional balancing, whether there is merit, whether some people benefit more than others, would be answered by the Minister of Education. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I should give a bit of a caveat that as a country, we want to be transparent with what we do, and we give out information, sometimes too much information, which then hurts us as a country. When there is an outbreak like Ebola, even at a very minor level, we come up with a press conference, we inform the whole world, we write in print media, we put it in social media, and everybody in the world says there is a problem in Uganda. And that eventually affects us. Then we have travel advisories, we have cancellation of visas, we have suspension of travels, which then challenges us. What we need to do as a country, whenever there is a challenge like that, we should find a way of managing information that we don't alarm the world to our disadvantage. That said, Minister of Health came up with a statement to say that we are Ebola free. We are supposed to take it up, I think, with World Health Organization, which is supposed to count, I think, either 42 or 45 days before it can clear us. And when it does, now the whole world will know we are free. But at least on our side, we have declared ourselves free. And we hope, as these countries monitor, then restoration of these travel services will come back. But part of the challenge, we injure ourselves by sharing too much information instead of managing it.
Is the question as to whether we do participate in the budget formulation process. Yes, we fully part of senior management, and in some cases we have sat as top management. We have agreed on the disbursement and distribution of funds to facilitate department activity, but slicing of the cake, I find myself with questions which I can't answer. Why? Because what we agree on in the circular, he agreed that actually diaspora was a very big department that needed a budget. We all agreed. Just recently when the papers came out distribution, we found ourselves in some situation. I have given you something to look at. You can look at it if you feel, so that I don't talk too much. One is mobilization, one is sensitization. I mobilize, look for these people, make sure they are united, they emerge from their old cocoon of divisions based on sectarian tendencies, bring them together. And Chair, that's why in December we are going to invite you to come and talk to our people in the convention. It is always at Munyonyo. That's why, Chair, I'm going to share with you our itinerary of activities, so that if we go to some of these conventions abroad, you can come with some of your members, of course at your own cost, because we don't have anything. Then you see exactly what we go through to sensitize these people. We don't put on suits. We become part and parcel of them. I've been in the diaspora for 13 years, so I know what these people go through. And that's how I managed to up, I think yesterday but one, what is going on in some of our systems. Question obviously is, how does somebody in the diaspora know what is happening in State House, in internal affairs, in foreign affairs? There is, of course, a loophole somewhere which needs to be sealed. There is a leakage. And it's very dangerous for any country's national security if intelligence leaks, if intelligence becomes rumor mongering, dangerous rumor mongering. That's very dangerous. And some of these people are not outside there because they wanted to be there. They are bitter. So part of our mobilization and sensitization is to instill a sense of patriotism in these people. And some of them have started learning, because what happened in South Africa taught them a lot. All these people have been saying nasty things in South Africa, found themselves at the airport. And they were panicking. They thought they were going to be taken to prison, and I just told them, no, you are home. That's why we have been telling you, east or west, you will end up here. Dead or alive, you will end up here. So, go to Chankwanzi, see what is there, and Chair, by the time they left Chankwanzi, they were very happy. When they came, they were all traumatized. They didn't know what was going to happen next. So, this is why we need constant mobilization. We need constant sensitization. And these people are not bad. They are pushed by circumstances. Now, Chair, the most important thing for us to ask ourselves is this. Do we understand, or have we identified, understood, and analyzed the push factors from here versus the pull factors where these people go? That's what we need to deal with. Because if we don't understand why our people are leaving and what is attracting them there, we are going to continue with these problems.
To thank my honor, is it the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the elaborate presentations from yesterday and today. My concern, Royal Chair, I want to know whether the ministry is engaging the Ministry of Internal Affairs and other security organizations to stop the human trafficking, and also to see how you can help these girls who are in a dangerous position, especially those ones manufacturing weapons of war, and those who are in prostitution, especially in Russia, like you presented, and those being recruited. I don't know whether we don't have our security personnel in Russia who can help in giving information before recruiting these our Ugandans into those subversive activities. Also, my concern, Madam Chair, is on some Ugandan associations. Some are facilitated by our government. They are given money, but they continue to be negative. And they paint a very bad image on our country. Are we trying, is the ministry putting any efforts to sensitize them, or maybe encourage them to come and visit Uganda and see that the way they left it is not how Uganda is not in the same way they left it, because most of them have been in diaspora for a very long time, and some were born from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable.
Okwere David Bicham. I represent the people of Bukedia constituency. I have two questions to the Minister of Fisheries. The first is about our sovereignty, Uganda as a country that we have. And of course, sovereignty it cuts across to all nations. But we are having something which has been trending for the last 5 years, where we have our own Ugandans who happen to go outside Uganda, and then they begin damaging the image of our own country. And sometimes you get that these are people who are privileged to intelligence information, and they begin exposing it out on social media. I think about 2 years ago or 3, we had an issue concerning about Lumbuye, a gentleman called Lumbuye in Turkey, who had all the information of security, intelligence information, sometimes information about State House, and whatever he was speaking, it was very accurate. And my question, therefore, not even that person alone, there are also others in UK, there are also others in other countries. I mean, what are we doing as a ministry to allow our own Ugandans to go out and begin revealing out our own confidential information? And who in security or in intelligence is revealing such confidential information to damage our own sovereignty and integrity? Second question. When I was coming in, I got you when you're doing a presentation in regard to the Ugandans who have committed some crimes, and some of them are even in prisons and all that. My question is, how many Ugandans do we have who are out there and they are in detentions? And what kind of offenses are they serving? And how many can be helped? And are we thought assistance of the Ugandan government to see that such kind of Ugandans can be helped? Because it does not stop that the moment I leave Uganda, my identity as a Ugandan stops at the time when I exit the country. Because I've seen sometimes circumstances where a burden is shifted to the government, someone dies outside the country, and then the burden of transporting the coffin or bodies is again given to our own government. That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Robert.
The budget line to this aspect is in the approved budget and work plan for financial years 24-25, 25-26, and the current 26-27, which is highlighted in the original submission. I could not easily access the bank details, but Chair, I beg you give me time. This one will furnish it with the committee. It's not difficult to get. This was an oversight. Yeah. On number 11, a complete survey of all foreign travels undertaken by the chairperson and Ms. Pauline Nansamba during the period between 21-26. For each trip, provide the approvals, budget, source of funding, travel reports, air tickets, stamped pages of the passports, and boarding passes. Honorable Chair, this is a file with all this information, starting with the schedule of which commissioner traveled when and where, then the passport pages for the members of the commission, chairperson, and the members of the commission. They are all here. The air tickets, the ticketing, which is done electronically these days, they are all here for the committee's further scrutiny. Honorable Chair, the last item was copies of all applicable laws, regulations, policies, guidelines, standing orders, circulars, and internal administrative instruments that are relevant to this matter. Honorable Chair, I have carried internal documents, anti-corruption strategy of the UHRC, the human rights, handbook on human rights education, what guides the Commission in doing civic education, complaints handling procedures manual. This was a subject of discussion on closure of files. The procedures are detailed in this manual. communication and stakeholder engagement strategy for the Commission 2004 to 2029. I have also carried the Honorable Chair the anti-fraud and whistleblowers policies and procedures for the Commission. I've also carried the risk management policy and framework that guides the internal controls in the Commission. I've also carried the investigator's handbook. This guides us in investigations of complaints of human rights violations. I've also carried the human resource management policy, which guides us in the management of HR issues. I've also carried the transport management policy and procedures, which guides us on matters of transport. Honorable Chair, they are here also for the committee to further study them. These are vouchers and documentation relating to international travel, which were also part of the request on foreign travel. These are passports for two honorable members of the Commission. They were delivered after I had reached here, so allow me to also put them. Sorry? They are copies of pages of the passports for two members of the Commission which are not being part of the original submission. Yes. Yeah. Honorable Chair will guide on that. Thank you, Honorable Chairman. That is all I had to present. Now, honorable members, before you chip in, Mr. Kamad, there are challenges at the Uganda Human Rights Commission. I'm sure you are aware of. And it's against that background that we have this discussion with this volume of documentation that you have presented to us. I want you to be honest, these members of Parliament. What is the problem at Uganda Human Rights Commission? Away from documents, what is the problem at Uganda Human Rights Commission? Honorable Chair, there is a problem, you could call it a challenge if you may. The challenge is administrative leadership. As you saw, my bosses have misunderstandings. And I'm happy that the matter is before this honorable house. Yeah. So all we need is to sort out the administrative question for the leadership to work together. And the rest of this will not arise if the administrative governance question actually, if the governance question is resolved. Honorable Nalukola, you had your hand up.
Records presented to Parliament revealed that the top management decision-making body of the Uganda Human Rights Commission has not held any formal commission meeting since March 2026. As the accounting officer, bound by the provisions of the Constitution of this country, how can you justify the continued expenditure of billions of money from public fund when the Commission's leadership has completely collapsed into institutional paralysis, for lack of a better term, Mr. Chairman, and no lawful policy or oversight decision is being made? The second question, Mr. Chairman, there are widespread reports of internal disputes and bickering among the commissioners, coupled with confusion surrounding the resignation notes and continuing the tenure of the chairperson, that is Mariam Wangadya. To what extent has this toxic internal environment compromised the protection of human rights for the ordinary Ugandan? And what steps have you taken as the secretary, the accounting officer, so that Ugandans are protected from abuse and violation of human rights? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, isn't it true that Uganda Human Rights Commission has abandoned its duty, its mandate to promote, uphold, observe human rights? On several occasions, we have had commissioners lamenting that they don't have sufficient funds to investigate even safe houses. They cannot even handle the interference of the executive into the judiciary as regards whether to grant or not bail to suspects. Aren't you concerned as a secretary? And I've had the occasion to hear from you, you are a very educated man as regards human rights, especially the first generation human rights, civil political rights. What is your take on that? Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nalukol. Honorable members, we shall restrict to 2 minutes, given that is the Shadow Attorney General. He had more time. Let's hear from
Much
the Shadow
obliged,
Minister
Mr.
of Justice
Chairman.
and Constitutional Affairs.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, through I want to know, because there are some explanation which he has made orally as far as this document is concerned. I did not get this. I want to know through you has accessed the files and even through the witness, if he has put that in writing, that as far as this document, I have not found anything. As far as this issue, I have not found anything. So that it can be on record when he has communicated. That is issue number 1.
On that one, for the record, I have received the files like the way everyone else has received them here. So just put it on record that you are asking him to commit in writing on the information he has not responded to, which is the prudent thing to do.
Yes,
and tell us how we can get it, or if we can't, then we look at alternatives.
Chair, the witness, can you kindly confirm that the documents which you have failed to get or to provide, that you have made a thorough communication to this committee, that as far as these documents are concerned, I have not got. As far as these documents are concerned, I have got. I want to get that information from you. 2, Chair, the secretary has moved through the ranks. This could be through another committee, but I want to know from him. You have moved through the ranks, you have been handling various region offices. Have you ever visited these basements at CMI and at Kasenyi? The position which you have, before you occupied the office, the position you are occupying now. And lastly, Chair, we had requested, among others, there are some files which were dismissed. They were dismissed, and the letters were being signed by that lady called Mutumba. And we requested for these minutes. I have not had anything to do with those files, the proceedings of those files, the proceedings which led to the dismissal of those files. When is he providing those proceedings?
Thank you, Honorable Shadow Attorney General. Yes, let's for that order. But very fast at...
Thank you very much, Chair.
You did not introduce yourself when they were making introductions. Please introduce yourself for them.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Fred Waseke, MP in Tenjeri South Kayunga District, a member of this committee. Chair, on number 11, Roman 11, the accounting officer has presiding to trips that were undertaken, including schedules. But it is alleged that some of these trips they were funded by external funders, but the commissioners went ahead and got cash in exchange for the trip, for the tickets from the commission. I want you to speak to that, because it is you who prepared this response.
Who made that allegation?
The commissioners who came here, the ones
made
we
the
made,
allegation.
yeah, that
Okay.
they made that allegation.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mine are three very brief. As I told the Secretary that when I made a comment about the stamps and he said you would guide, at my level, having been a senior immigration officer legal for more than 18 years, I know that photocopies of stamps are not conclusive to show travel records. When we want to know how somebody traveled, you have to write to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Internal Affairs, and they print out the automated travel record of a person. So that is what I'll take, not photocopies of entry-exit stamps, which could have been made from NASA Road. Secondly,
Honorable Lenyo, what I wanted to guide on that one is that we go through the documents. If there is any specific travel that we are questioning, then we shall seek verification.
Mine was an expert opinion. Secondly, on the issue of human rights, I agree that our colleague has paraded a very beautiful human rights record, but I wanted to find out from him his exact competencies in as far as accounting and for the office is concerned. I wanted him to tell us how the advert was made, whether it was an internal advert to fill that post or it was exposed to other citizens with other competencies. I just wanted to know how he got into that office from the advert. Final, on the issue of documentation. Honorable Chair, with due respect, these documents, you wrote a list of documents you wanted from him. In a sober society, he had to have replied, and we have a record of the documents that for this one I didn't find. If we don't have such an accompanying letter, these documents are just hearsay. So I'd wish to know whether he wrote formally replying so that we can tabulate and have a nomenclature of following his document. Otherwise, I thank him for his attempt.
He submitted a copy here indicating those he has been able to find. The only element lacking is an explanation to those he was not able to find, which our honorable brother raised, and I will ask him to do that too.
Excellent. Thank you, Chair.
Congresswoman, okay, let's proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Me, first of all, I don't agree that this gentleman, who is a full accounting officer, has failed to get the following things. Number 4, the asset register, which registers all assets of the organization. So that's when we go and talk to him, and we need this record of that. It must be there. 2, on the finance, the 77 billion. Those million from Chinese. Mr. Chair, it's also not correct, because when you receive money, this money goes to account. There is a statement which called bank statement. So please also go and see the finance director to give you a bank statement where this money was reflected. I thank you.
I hope Secretary have noted that. Okay. Any other comment?
Thank you, Chair.
Just have that microphone.
Thank you, Chair. This statement. The CEO has told us that there are no records rating 77 million. Chair, a donation cannot be sent to Uganda Human Rights Commission. There can never be evidence of a bank account. You can't tell us that this money, was it paid in cash? Was it paid through the back door? This money ought to have been deposited in the account. So therefore, there has to be a receipt somewhere within your docket. Secondly, you can't tell me there are no audit reports to capture this expenditure or these monies. Because, Chair, when you look at especially 4 and 5, where there are issues relating to monies, the CEO is telling us there are no records. You want to tell us that there has never been an audit report relating to monies or anything within this organization? So, Chair, we need an audit report during those days.
Accounting Officer, Mr. Kamad, yes. Do you have an audit report?
Do you have any audit report?
Honorable Chair, the commission is audited. Require me to go back and look at them. But Honorable Chair,
but Mr. Accounting Officer,
yes,
before you you preside over an institution where we have an audit report and you don't know its contents?
I'm talking about the report we have, which is an unqualified report.
No, Chair.
Yeah, maybe we have an unqualified report for 2020. Chair, I have not looked at it. I've not seen it, and I have told you the year under review 24-25, I was not in office.
So there is a possibility that it does not exist.
It is
in
possible.
Your
I
opinion.
don't know really.
Okay.
What I've stated here is the position. Is the obtaining position.
Honorable members, like I guided, we have the privilege of having access to all this information. So let's go slow on this. Go ahead, please conclude your
Chair, let me conclude. CEO, in the you talked about you are overseeing the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Now, there are decisions that were made by Pauline Nansamba Mutumba, and those decisions relate to matters that have been with the Commission, case backlog since the year 2016. You are being given money to deal with such cases. Commission is not sitting because of what you have said. Now, Pauline decides to make a decision on behalf of the Commission. I don't know whether you know that or you don't know. Secondly, why is it taking 10 years to decide matters when, as your CEO, what is the take? Is it incompetency? Is it lack of funds? What is it that it is taking 10 years? Ugandans want to know when they are listening to us, why they file cases with you and it takes 10 years to be decided.
Thank you so much.
Acting Accounting Officer, portraying total innocence of what has been happening.
Information Chair, I don't know if I'm allowed to. I'm not in office as substantive.
Acting what? Substantive. I was just, with the due respect to the acting secretary, that is portraying innocence. In law, we are not so arrogant to call ignorance the botanical name. We call it innocence. The CEO to come here and tell us that because he just assumed office 3 months ago and he does not have documents in relation to a property that is donated by a high-valued organization of the magnitude of the United Nations to Uganda Human Rights Commission is a total sheer of innocence, bordering ignorance. And that goes directly to the competence of the person holding that portfolio. Secondly, when it comes to financial management, a total amount of 77 million coming into the organization, and the acting secretary stroke accounting officer shows again total innocence of not knowing how this amount of money, whether it is within the commission or not, borders again on total incompetence. And that's why members were talking about his qualifications to hold his portfolio. Mr. Chair, I would want to, with due respect to Haji, because I see he has a star, like the Shadow Attorney General. And he has served at the commission for 22 years. Chair would like him to shed more light whether this committee will be privileged to have much more extensive details on these issues of the motorcycle, of the motor vehicle, and the 77 million. Again, there is also 720. There is a deviation between 720 and now 680. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, on that one, this committee has a very high mandate to make recommendations for or against the accounting officer. It is in his best interest that he convinces you to defend and protect him. So where he falls short of that, I don't want you to stress yourselves and worry about why you must do this, you must do this. You have given him an opportunity to present what he's able to present to you. I want to agree. If he says I don't have it, we cannot force him to have it.
Procedure,
but we have alternative approaches. So you understand my point. So let's not worry about this so much.
No, procedure, Mr. Chair.
So now, because we have the minister coming in,
yes.
You will raise the procedure issue as you raise your point. So
okay.
Are you raising a point? Okay, now you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go to
documents, which the secretary, acting secretary, has executed. He has done the role of providing the documents. The issue of interrogating the documents is not what we required him to do. In fact, he was courteous enough to give us the details, because in the letter you said where he can speak the documents, let him do it. If he cannot, he has the right to say he doesn't have. I don't see any fault as per now, because that's what we said. If he has no documents, let us accept that he has no documents. Where we need him to speak the documents in details, we give him another assignment or appointment so that he comes and talk to the documents. Otherwise, even if we push him now, the answer remains he has no. He has the documents, but he cannot speak further to those documents.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
Summarized my response, and that's what I am insisting on. Demand for what he doesn't have. Do we have any other submissions? Okay, Honorable, my mother-in-law, Namju.
Thank you, Chair. About something, and I want to add my voice. The chairperson and his colleagues took a trip to Netherlands that was fully sponsored by an agency, UK agency. But how come they went to their procurement officer, who's called Namanya Claire, and they withdrew money? They got money in cash. Is the accounting officer aware of that? Thank you so much, Chair.
What is your source of information?
The commissioner.
Because now they are of this committee and of this meeting, I appreciate, but if you not, he may not be aware of the information, and that's what I want us to be categorical. Chairman, please go truthful. It may be untruthful. So you put the facts. If he can respond, I understand. But unless you have availed him the source, I don't want you to speak to it authoritatively. Okay? Otherwise, we may be turned into a laughing stock. And I'm not just saying that you're wrong. I just want you to state the facts. Should they be factual, he will respond.
Let him deny.
The Honorable Deputy will conclude that, and then we get responses.
I noticed that the accounting officer is also the acting secretary. Do you find any conflict with? Because I think when this act was created and these two positions were created, I believe it must have been for a reason. So do you find any conflict in doing both roles? And I wonder whether one person why should be one person be doing all these roles? That's a question in my mind. But anyways, that is the second issue I have is, do you do quarterly reports? I know you're almost a quarter in office. If that is the case, would you be able to also? And I think the last bit, many of the members have already said that you've been there for 22 years. You you have actually had the time to look for all these documents. Our rules here, many times when you're laying papers, requires comments. Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. So I think, thank you.
The accounting office a chance to respond to the issues, but I want to emphasize this. Responses are in your best interest, and the more information you avail us, the better for us as a committee and the better for you as an institution, because our aim is to ensure that the institution functions normally. So in your response, have it at the back of your mind that it is in your best interest to give us this information, and we help the institution become a better institution. Please proceed.
On the 9th of March this year, but I would like to explain that day-to-day operations are not determined by meetings of the Commission, much as they are important.
I want you to repeat that for Honorable Arenyo. It's a very, very important point that he raised. That's what I want him to repeat for Honorable Arenyo.
I'm explaining, Honorable Chair, that the day-to-day operations of the Commission are managed by my office. Now, in the period the Commission did not sit as a body, there was a substantive chair, and the times she was away, there was an acting chairperson. So the operations have not been crippled as it was portrayed in that regard. Yes, there are challenges here and there, but work is being done in line with the governance structures. There was no sitting that I've explained. We need to differentiate between the Commission meetings and activity implementation. The two are different.
Chair, point of clarification and information to the CEO of the Commission. The decisions that come out of the Commission, the decisions, for example, the decision on dismissal of cases.
No, those were two different statements.
Yes.
There is a statement the Honorable Nalukola raised, and then there is a statement.
Tribunals, they are made by a tribunal. So there is a difference between an administrative sitting of the Commission and the Commission sitting as a tribunal. Completely, they are significantly different, and I wouldn't like us to confuse the two. The other element is on whether I have visited basements at CMOI and Kasenyi. I have not. In the running of the Commission, we have the directorates and departments. For the long time, like I explained at the beginning, I was in the Department of Education. I went to the regions. I have had no opportunity to be in inspections and monitoring, and I've not had the ability to visit CMOI, Kasenyi, and these places here in Kampala. Regarding the close of files, Honorable Chair, the chairperson responded to. I've just
Honorable Abdallah, let's be orderly. Let's be orderly, please. Let's be orderly.
Honorable Chair, on the issue, Honorable Abdallah raised the issue of Kilozo files. The Honorable Chair of the Commission has responded, and she asked me to deliver her response to you, which is in writing. The letter is here, and the details of how the cases that were closed from 2023 to June 2023.
Chair, a matter of procedure.
No, before you come in,
yes.
Mr. Kamad.
Yes.
As the accounting officer, you are the technical advisor to the Commission. And the concern of these members is, was the closure procedurally right? Did you ever, before we look at that report, did you ever look at the process of closure, whether it was procedurally right or not?
Thank you, Chair. I took note of that, and let me explain. Closures are at 2 or 3 levels. One, we have investigations. Matters before investigations are closed by the investigating officers. That one does not have to go to the Commission. and the details are in the procedures manual I have presented. Now, then there are those matters that are closed or dismissed at tribunal level. So it is important to interrogate which matters are we talking about, at investigations level or at tribunal level. I think there is also a missing link along those lines, and I believe this report details that.
The 200 cases which were closed, at what stage were they closed?
Honorable Chair, I would have to look at those cases on a case-by-case basis.
The closure was done in May. You had assumed office in March. Chair, point of information, did you guide on this as a technical person?
Honorable Chair, I have a technical officer who is the Director of Complaints, Investigations and Legal Services. With due respect, when it comes to handling of files, I would do, it's not my direct docket to follow.
Chair, point of information, and I want to show you one of the decisions that they made. And one Pauline Nansamba Mtumba dealt with this case and dismissed and said that she was doing the commission. And remember, when the act, when it says the commission, it does not say, when you look at the act, it is very clear on who the commission is. And that's why we have a concern. When you are dismissing cases, the procedure is very simple. The commissioner sits, and this one, let me just tell you how it's supposed to be done, is that the commissioner sits.
No, Cohen, what is the point you're raising? I don't want you to educate him.
Yes, no, the point we are raising, he is taking us through circles about this issue of closure of files.
What is the point?
The point I want to tell you, that what he is just reading is misleading us.
Honorable Chair, I'm reminded.
Because the person who made the decision is the secretary.
I understand.
On behalf of the secretary.
Cohen, so what is the point?
Yes, so if he is not aware that these decisions were made and they were done on his behalf, on whose behalf was Pauline sitting and making decisions?
Honorable Chair,
and it is here on behalf of the secretary.
Honorable Chair, I'm being misquoted. I've not said I'm not aware.
At least you have a chance to exonerate yourself. Please tell us.
And I'm reminded, Honorable Chair, this matter came up. Honorable Deputy talked about do we have quarterly reports? And I could tie in this with that. Yes, we review our quarterly performance reports every after 3 months. And on the 1st of July, we held a performance review meeting, and this matter came up of close of files from colleagues in the regions and etc. And I guided that we put a moratorium on the close of the files until the issue is discussed and resolved by the Commission. I'm happy to report, Honorable Chair. Yes, there was an issue. And I gave this guidance on the 1st of July. Yeah. Now, with that, kindly allow me present the response by the Chair on this matter to you, as raised by Honorable Abdallah. Funded by external funders, cash can't be cash drawn and etc. With due respect, Honorable Chair, this is a detail. I would need to look into this allegation and then furnish the committee with the exact position, whether it is true or not. On the photocopies of stamps, Honorable Chair, you guided on this. And the Honorable Member said his was an expert opinion, but you guided. Accounting officer, was there an advert? Honorable Chair, accounting officers are appointed by the permanent secretary and secretary to the treasury. It's not a job that is advertised in the commission. I was appointed by the PSST.
No. You didn't answer my question. There is a difference between an accounting officer and a responsible officer. Mine was for the job of secretary. I was very specific. I'm alive to the procedures of government. I'm alive to who appoints an accounting officer, and I'm alive to who removes. I just wanted to know, you as secretary, did you apply?
Honorable Chair, I'm an acting secretary. there would have been an advert if they were appointing a secretary. This was an internal
Chair, point of information. Chair, initially, Chair, I had asked the question which you said we hold on.
Now, if we all ask, there is no way he's going to answer.
Okay.
He's responding to Honorable
Honorable Chair, acting appointments are internal administrative decisions. As simple as that.
So you are not a substantive secretary.
I'm an acting secretary.
Chair. So you are not. My answer is yes. You are not. For how long have you been acting?
Since March.
Since April 9th.
April 9th this year.
Yes, April 9th this
baby.
year.
Chair, you're a baby in the
Chair,
issue.
I had asked the question initially through you.
Now, I want to have Honorable Alenyo's microphone switched off, and it should not be switched on until I authorize you to do that. I will not allow.
Another matter was again about investigations and the cases, which ties in with the response I've already made. On the issue, the other aspect was on the vehicle and the 77 million where you have guided. It was also raised by another member. How one commissioner who travels, I'm not aware, one commissioner who travels, this matter was responded to by the people who were responsible before this honorable committee. With due respect, honorable members, and I have to keep repeating myself, I did not sanction these journeys at the time. Therefore, I don't think it would be fair for you to be crucified for the ills of the 10th Parliament when you are in the 12th Parliament.
Actually, this committee is struggling to understand whether ills or not, whether they were regular.
Yeah,
regular.
But
okay.
I undertake to furnish with the committee with any additional information that may be required on this matter. Yeah, I undertake to do that.
Chair, do you think that your powers, because we are seeing also a problem between the commission, your powers over some of these things like trips and all that is unsolved?
Not to see that. Finally, Honorable Chair.
And that should be your last one?
Yes, and it was the last indeed from the Honorable Vice Chair. The UHRC Act 1997 provides that the Secretary to the Commission shall as well be the accounting officer. So this is a matter of the UHRC Act.
So, honorable members of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, I am tasking our Secretariat within how much time is sufficient to have a full internal report on those documents in response to the issues we raised. Can we have that by Tuesday next week? Yes, I want you to scrutinize those documents in response to the matters we raised and the matters which have been coming in this committee, so that we have a comprehensive report on what has been presented. Should we have any issue that we need clarity, we shall get back to you. I want to thank you for those responses you have made. The Honorable Colin Chairperson is going to see you out as we prepare. He has another body issue which he wanted to whisper to you in private, I guess. You're going to see him. No, Cohen, please don't. Please, Cohen, don't. Please don't. Please, it's so free. So I want the Honorable Cohen to see you out. We shall receive our report by Tuesday next week, and then should we need any further information, we shall have a discussion with you. Please, thank you for coming, and thank you for the documentation. The periphery is not comfortable. Kuma, make sure the general is comfortable. Yeah, it's here. You will declare your conflict of interest. You will declare your conflict of interest. Honorable members, the Honorable Minister is here. We need to start off immediately. Let's organize. Parliament. Okay, let's start from.
Chair, I'm not a member of Parliament for Soroti. I'm a member of Parliament for Dakabela County, which is in Soroti District. Those are two.
I'm Nantongo Fortunate Rose, the woman MP Cheta District, a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. Adeke Anebajo, sir.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. I am Campagna Abdu Swaibu from representing the people of Ikiki Budaka.
My name is Luyimba Zinalukola. I represent Kawempe North constituency. You remember I used to be your Attorney General in the Democratic Party, but now Attorney General in the part of Uganda, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, County North in Mukono District, and I'm the Shadow Justice.
Yeah, good afternoon, Honorable Minister.
My name is Marshall Alenyo, Member of Parliament for Jonam County in Pakwach. Honorable Minister, you are OB from Namiriango. Thank you very much.
And Honorable Minister, my name is Eliab Natulinda, Member of Parliament for Ndogwa County West and a member.
I represent people of Barashia County, Capital District.
Honorable Minister, my name is Amanya Kohen Champene. I'm a member of Parliament representing the people of the great Igara West constituency.
Chair, the Honorable Minister, one time when I was in Ajimani, held me hostage. He remembers it very well.
Bench, but they are, in the interest of time, we'll spend.
The Honorable Mao is the minister in charge of several departments and entities within this government, and everywhere I can see it is hot. Honorable Chair, through you, I beg that you proceed and allow me, before we get deeper into the issue of the commission, to know some few issues. But of recent, I have been looking for him nowhere. Now I have got him. This is the very opportunity I can ask these issues for him to answer, for the benefit of this country, for the benefit of Ugandans and some of my colleagues here.
Okay. Honorable Abdallah, thank you so much. I want to make a ruling that is present. Now, Honorable Minister, we have a lot of issues regarding the Uganda Human Rights Commission, which is an entity under your docket of supervision. We have had the opportunity of listening to the chairperson of that commission in this committee. The tempers were flaring, and it indicated that it was not rosy at all. We also hosted the commissioners separately, and they were all spitting fire from all directions. We have just been speaking to the accounting officer of that institution, and he admits that there are very serious governance and administrative issues pertaining to that institution. And we know you as a man who doesn't fear fire points. Our thinking was that by now, you should have had the opportunity to intervene in those matters and at least created harmony. From the look of things, you haven't, and we are wondering why this time. So we invited you to this committee to discuss together and see how we resolve the challenges in that institution. We mandated as the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee to look into the day-to-day operations of that institution. But also we have a directive from the Speaker of Parliament from the House to pay attention to the matters pertaining there. The mandate of the Uganda Human Rights Commission is a very big one under the Constitution, and many of the issues that have been flowing in this committee indicate that the differences in administration, the challenges in governance have actually affected the core performance of their mandate. And everybody is concerned, both parliamentarians and the general public. So we wish to hear from you how best we can have these matters resolved and have a functional commission. I invite you to speak to us on that.
Proceed, Chair.
Proceed.